And now we overview entering the lovely territory where the gardens are located. And not only the members of the imperial family were spending the summer here, but also the members of the noble families.
If you turn to the left, you will see the classical white and yellow building and an arch. It is the Lyceum that was established by the Russian Emperor Alexander I. It was a boarding school for the noble boys to educate the official and the statesmen. And here for 6 years, Alexander Pushkin was a student of the school. This school included 3 years of gymnasium and 3 more years of the university. And you can see that the yellow arch in which was the library is connected to the palace church where the students could come and pray. And the church is located in the beautiful Russian Baroque building constructed by Rastrelli. It is Catherine's palace that we are going to visit with you. So now you can see Catherine's Palace. It's the biggest palace in the suburbs. Before the war we had here more than 55 rooms. Now only about 35 are open for the visitors. It was constructed in the middle of the 18th century by the Italian architect Rastrelli. And the palace was constructed in the days of Peter's daughter Elizabeth. And in her days, it looked a bit differently. You can look to the left and you will see that the brown decorations, they were painted gold. And later, when the daughter-in-law of Elizabeth, Catherine II, Catherine the Great, came to power, she considered all these gold unfashionable and removed it, and the decorations here were painted brown. You can see here the palace thousands of them were here, and the houses were also official and Elizabeth came to power in 1741 and ruled the country till 1762.
And Catherine the Great.
Catherine the Great, she was the bride, the wife of Peter III, who ruled 1 year only. And in 1762, Catherine II came to power and was on the throne for 34 years, till 1796. No, it was not. We will see with you the pictures. It was set on fire. Maybe it was not on purpose, but the palace was damaged by the fire. And the fire was put down by the snowstorm.
Oh.
Fortunately, it happened in winter. That is why the building was not burned completely. and it had to be restored, of course, and all the exhibits had to be evacuated before the siege.
Oh, they were evacuated.
Yes, yes, yes. The paintings.
Oh, they were? Okay.
Yes, the pieces of applied art, porcelain, some furniture.
But they weren't able to evacuate the amber room.
Yes, the amber room was too fragile to be evacuated. There were wooden boards with the amber mosaic. And when the panels were dismantled, the amber pieces started falling down from the walls. And there were thin walls to protect the
Не надо, мне голос.
Поцелуй маму вот так вот, да.
Все.
Слушай, давайте заходить с вами.
Так, раз, два, три, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, let's walk in.
May I film in here?
Pardon?
May I film?
Yes.
Потом история выдаст. Хотя не сюда его тут.
У вас не считывается. Там один раз считывается, и здесь один раз. По два раза ни там не считывается.
Be damaged, yeah. So this palace was one of the summer palaces of the imperial family, and as a rule, after the revolution of 1917, all the palaces were expropriated by Bolsheviks, so they were nationalized and turned into the museums or international institutions. The fate of this palace was missing, but then before the siege started, when the war was announced already, the evacuation of the exhibits had started, and mostly the exhibits were taken by trains to the rear, to Yekaterinburg and further. Mostly porcelain, as you can tell, paintings, some pieces of furniture could be saved. But still quite a number of items were left in the palace. For example, the amber room. And the original room was presented to Peter I by the Prussian emperor, Prussian monarch. It was here in this palace from the days of Empress Elizabeth. And the amber room is a room that is decorated with natural amber. It is a petrified resin of the coniferous trees. And Elizabeth, Peter's daughter, usually preferred to give receptions and to meet the ambassadors in this room. And this room was for the back to this room on our way back. We are just entering the main hall first. And in the days of Elizabeth, balls and masquerades were the main entertainment of the court and the empress herself. And actually this room was also used as the throne room before. The style that you can see is called Russian Baroque style. We have here mirrors. They were needed to enlarge the space. As the candles were expensive in those days, you can see the two tiers of the windows. And during balls and masquerades, 696 candles were lit. Original 40% of the room had to be done anew because it was damaged by the fire.
Is that the greatest accomplishment of Alexander II, in your opinion? Alexander II is the one of,
Yes.
was his greatest accomplishment, do you think?
Yeah. So in this room you've seen the pianos, and here concerts are held. Usually in the evenings, on the weekends, and also Elton John gave here his concert twice. Yes. Once for the VIP guests that who were invited from England, from Russia as well. It was like a private party. And the second time, about 4 or 5 years ago, the wedding of the Russian oligarch was celebrated here. And as one of the guests, Elton John was invited to perform and was paid a significant sum of money. And if you are wealthy enough, you can rent this room out and have a party and support the palace. and human hair were applied with the help of the brush made of squirrel tail. The static could be used because gold leaf can't be touched by the fingers. And on this whole 10 kilograms of gold were used, 100 kilograms of gold for the whole palace. And all this was restored according to the same technologies as in the 18th century. So all this is wooden covered with gold leaf. All the rooms we see and all the rooms we pass by. And in front of us is the golden yellow. Now we are with you in the Cavaliers' dining room. Officers who were the cavaliers of different orders were invited to join the meal presided by the Empress. All the sets here are original. They were made on the private forestry factory in Moscow, and each one is decorated with the color and fabric. Starting from this side, black and red is the order of Saint Vladimir. The order of Saint Andrew was established by Peter I, and it was the highest award in the country. The last one is the order of Saint George, and this ribbon was the symbol of the victory and the symbol of the defenders of the motherland in the Second World War. And the imperial family used to stay here from May till September, but they often changed the places. You can see that the ceilings here are high and the rooms are spacious. That is why heating was needed in May, in August. At night we sometimes have, in August for example, sub-zero temperature. Yes, and that is why stoves were needed. You can see this beautiful blue and white stove. Wood was put inside in this how it worked, and almost all the walls are decorated with these stoves, and not only decorated, but they are here on purpose. And as a rule, the tiles were brought from Poland, and they were white and blue, but later we had a factory established not far from this place where the imitation of Delft tiles were made. So now we are with you back to the main staircase. To entertain the guests, we have here two sculptures. Here you can see the sleeping Cupid. On the opposite side of the staircase is the same Cupid, but the Cupid is waking up. Do you know the reason why? So here sun is the side, western side, is the side of the sunset, where sun goes down, and the opposite side is the eastern part, where sun rises. Yeah, let's. the white dining room. Here is the original set that came from Germany, from Dusen, and it was also on the walls we have German paintings with a depiction of hunting trophies, deadfall, and it was fashionable to have such depictions in the dining rooms to see what you were eating. And here, next to the windows, we also have beautiful vases. They came from Meissen, from Germany as well. They are called snowball vases, and they are decorated with tiny porcelain flowers. The vases are called incense burners, and they were used for different incenses to be burned, and the smell was spreading all over the room. And each vase has about 800 little porcelain flowers, and fortunately for us, they also survived the Second World War.
Леночка, да, я на экскурсии. Я тебе потом приду.
Ivory.
Yes, yes. In the Crimson Pilasters room, these flat columns are called pilasters. Do you have any ideas what is under the glass? We use this material now. We use it when we bake, and you can find it in the chocolate bar. Yes, it's foil. So it was an innovation introduced by Australia. In this room we have crimson foil. In the next one there is green foil under the glass. Yes, there were technologies to do it, and it could be made of silver as well. And in this hall we have a chessboard. This chessboard came from China, as well as the game itself. And it is made of ivory. The board is decorated with mother of pearl and marquetry technique, as well as this bureau that you can see to the right is made of different varieties of wood. And these pieces of furniture are original. The stove you see to the right was damaged in the days of the war, and you can see the yellow stains on it. In those days, it was considered to be schmucks. It was considered to be quite clean. And Elizabeth decided to enjoy her time on the throne. She was waiting for so long because she was the illegitimate daughter. She was born before the marriage. And when she was on the throne, she decided to spend the money on the palaces, and she had 15,000 of dresses. And she could wear one dress once and never repeat. When the balls were given, the same order was given to all the courtiers. And all their dresses, by the entrance, the stamp was in order to show that it was the dress that already once was. And Elizabeth left no mark in this a laundry woman from Lithuania. And she was presented to the emperor, yes, during the Northern War as a war trophy. Yes, and she became the Orthodox believer and changed her name and became known as Queen of the Emperor of the country. It was just something the one to look like an emperor. And the first palace appeared here in Turkish. So here we are about to enter the amber room, and their pictures and video is not allowed. No filming.
I think you're the first people to read that, right?
Yes.
Strange thing about his face.
What happened to all the dresses?
Most dresses were later given to the ladies in waiting as presents, and they were donated to the churches because the cloth was very expensive and it could be used as the one to decorate the church and to be used for the as the cloth of the priest. And the idea was to decorate the room as if with the wallpaper. And when the painting didn't fit the frame, it was cut according to the outline to have a certain effect. You see here, they are original. They were imitated during the Second World War. The book that was So now we are with you in one of the rooms that has the typical decorations. Almost every room here has the white silk on the walls. It had to be restored after the Second World War on the old rooms of the 19th century in the monastery not far from Moscow. It is a black silk, it's only 60 centimeters wide and a stripe of 10 centimeters to down. Here on the walls we have the pictures showing us the garden and the palace in the days of Elizabeth. And the frame you see to the right is original marble. It is darker and also it was saved and evacuated. And it is the inlaid market figure. Was restored recently. It is painted Chinese silk, and it is the Chinese study of Alexander I. You can see his portrait. He was the favorite grandson of Catherine II. And Alexander I was the one who defeated Napoleon in the war. And his there was mutual hatred between Catherine II and her son Paul. That's Catherine, she was a German princess. Mostly he couldn't have it, and a wife had to be sent to the nunnery. It was like a prison, almost a prison. And Catherine, she wanted to rule the country, and her husband Peter III was imprisoned and later murdered. And there was the son Paul Leb.
Better watch yourself.
us as statesmen. This room was decorated by the order of Catherine II, by the Scottish architect Charles Cameron. He was the one who changed the spelling, and you can see that the motifs were taken from the sheet of the ancient Greece and ancient Rome, and they had reminded of the English person.
I see no flash.
This room was intended for the waiters. It is also decorated in the classical style. And we have here the original door that survived the Second World War. And on the walls we have here these flat columns. They are made of wood and painted like marble. And here we are going downstairs. Works that were started immediately after the Second World War. All the documents had to be returned, the exhibits as well, and the sculptures, marble sculptures and bronze sculptures. As a rule, they were too heavy to be evacuated, and that is why they were mostly dug, they were buried into the ground. That is how they were saved. And then they were dug out after the Second World War in 1945, 1950s. There is a concert hall, and the courtiers with the emperors could be taken from the bank by the ferry boat to this beautiful island. One in front of the opposite bank.
Первый этаж, вот помещение, где проживали фрейлины. И наверху, как маленький балкончик. Видите, какая красивая, легкая воздушная галерея. Тяжелый каменный этаж первый. С левой стороны нас выведут. То есть это ворота эти такие.
Then the building with the golden dome and a minaret is not a mosque and not a chapel, it is Turkish bath that was constructed in the days of Nicholas I in the middle of the 19th century. And Russia always had the enemy in the south, it was Turkey. And in France, it was fashionable and popular to have such pavilions somewhere far from the main palace in the garden. With a special mechanism, was moved upstairs where the guests were. There were no staircases. Usually there was like an ancient elevator, a chair pulled by the servants to the second floor. And the idea was to have the complete privacy and to have no one eavesdropping. And when a guest wanted to have a certain dish, he could write it down and put it on the plate. And there was also the special mechanism, and only the plate could go downstairs. The guests could just pull a ribbon that was attached to a little bell downstairs, and the servant understood what he had to do.
Там, видите, посмотрим, здесь вот так.